afternoon, good evening, good whatever time of day that you are tuning in once again to another episode of It's Naturally Nat. What do you think of my new apron? I got this from my nieces as a little present a while back at the holidays, and I thought it'd look good with this spiffy shirt, which I really shouldn't wear when I'm cooking. Here's my Ina imitation. But my collar doesn't stay up like hers. I don't know, she must starch it. But thanks to my nieces for the apron. I love it. It's pretty. I'm going to wear it when I'm entertaining. Otherwise, I'm kind of a slob and rough on aprons. So today, enough of that. Today, what we're going to make is we're going to make something that at first you're going to be like, what? That's too mundane for you. It's naturally not. But we're going to elevate it. We're going to make everybody's favorite treat since the beginning of time, but we're going to elevate it. Ready? Rice Krispie treats. I know. You're like, oh, everybody knows how to make those. Well. Yeah, but we're going to make this super special, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to decorate them in a way that makes them look like that you snuck off to some fancy little high-end bakery and got them there, right? And you can wrap them up and put them in glassine bags, and you can tell people that you went to a very nice bakery and got them there because they're so fancy looking, because most people don't take that step. Most people make Rice Krispie treats, and I've had a lot of bad ones in my time, because they forget counting how many cups of the marshmallows in the Rice Krispies, especially if they have kids, or a spouse or significant other who talks too much while they're trying to cook. Or they add too much because they want to get more bang for their buck. You can't do that. You can't do that. So I've come up with a good recipe today. That's the best. The best. In fact, my sister, when she was here at the holidays, she got confused and she said, these were so great, I can't believe you made scotcheroos. Now, if you're from the Midwest, or if you're a Rice Krispie expert, you'll know that scotcheroos are a variant of Rice Krispie treats, but they call for corn syrup, which I don't like to use. It's not real great for you, and it never is on sale. And then it also calls for butterscotch chips, which I never have on hand, and they're always expensive and they never go on sale. But what makes these mistakenly taste like scotcheroos are really rich and indulgent, elevated version of this, is because you use natural peanut butter, you use a little bit more marshmallows, okay? Another reason I like this recipe that I cobbled together is most Rice Krispie dishes come in 9x13, which is all right. Hug them down if you want to. But if you're only making them for two people or one occasion and you don't want extras, today's recipe goes in one of these, which is smaller than a 9x13. In fact, this is a, what do my notes say here on the card? 8 by 11.5, or a 2-quart, which is a bit smaller than the 9x13. And I've even tried making these in a 4x4, even smaller, which is perfect if it's you and a significant other, or you and a roommate, or you and just your child or your teen. Perfect for that type of thing. But this one is my favorite. Okay, this one's my favorite. So let's go ahead and let's get started. Hopefully I won't get anything on my Ina shirt or my new apron. So what I got going on here is 4 tablespoons of butter, right? 4 tablespoons of butter. And then the next thing you're going to want to do, and you know the call here, is you want to go ahead and add your, what is it, 5, no, what did I figure it to being? 6 cups or 10 ounces of marshmallows, which I know is a little annoying. Let me tell you why it's annoying. Let me get a wooden spoon first. It's a little annoying because, I turn this down or I'm going to have funky butter. It's a little annoying because most of the bags don't come in at 10 ounce, and a lot of the recipes call for 10 ounces. And boy, there's a lot of recipes that are varied, but the one I like and that I've adapted from calls for 10 ounces, which is basically 3 ounces of one of those big jet marshmallow bags. Now, we could probably argue forever which is better, miniature marshmallows or the jetty big puffy ones like this. I don't think it matters. You probably actually get a better, a more accurate measurement if you use the mini ones, but This is what I have on hand. This is what I'm used to. And I kind of like having a few left over because they go really nice into a cup of hot cocoa, right? And when they get hard, which these will, if you've noticed, if you try to store these for long term, they always get hard, and you can't use them once they go hard. In this dish, you can use them in a cup of hot chocolate, but no, when they get hard, they don't melt back down like they do here in this. And if you're wondering, I've got this on low medium heat, which is probably more medium because my stove is weird. It's the stovetop, this burner anyway, is going out a little bit, and it's really wildly unpredictable. It's like trying to camp on a cook stove. If you've ever done that, you know what I'm talking about. It's feeling like it's kind of really coming together. Now, why do you use the organic peanut butter? In this case, I got a half cup. Here's why. The organic peanut butter, or the natural, and I'm all out of Justin's right now, that's my favorite brand for this, is really oily, okay? And in fact, I'm going to add a little oil, I know, crazy, to this because I don't have the Justin's brand. This is avocado oil. And the reason why you want the natural peanut butter is because that makes these softer and last longer in an airtight Tupperware style container. I've had them last me as long as 2.5, 3 months. Yes, I know. And they were still soft, and they were still fresh. Now, I kept them in a cool, dry, dark spot in my downstairs basement kitchen. But that's how long they last. Because of the natural peanut butter, making them softer, okay? And that's probably why my sister thought that they were scotcheroos, and they weren't, right? I wasn't going to take that extra step and go overpay for nasty corn syrup and butterscotch drops. But anyway, it's the finishing off of this dish that you're going to really like. And what you're going to need for that is bark, white bark. I just bought this, and then I remembered I had some chips version of that, the kind that you'd use white chocolate and chips. Either one will work. This might melt a little faster. That, some colored sugar, and some decorations. And I'll talk about that more. That's really, besides using the organic peanut butter and following these measurements from marshmallows butter marshmallows butter, are we're going to make these over the top, right? Over the top, like you'd see in a sweet little, mom and pop bakery that would have some really individually wrapped and super cute, right? Maybe with similar toppings to what we're doing today, right? I went ahead and greased my pan. By grease, you can use butter, but I didn't want to. I just wanted a little bit of avocado oil, and that's really only so they don't stick when they're warm, because you're putting the mixture in there warm, and if you don't put anything down, it'll stick like you know what. This is coming together. You don't want it to burn, of course. Now, since we're almost there, here's the trick. I'm going to add this natural peanut butter. The half cup with the little bit of extra oil that I've added to it to kind of mix up for the consistency of the Justin's brand that I like to use. I'm sorry, that's the one that I like to use. But if you have another one that you like that's even local, go for it. But here's the deal. Don't forget to do this. Whatever brand you use of the natural peanut butter, make sure you take that spoon and stick it in that jar and mix it really well. Because if you don't, you're going to get too much oil in this. And then the next person that goes to use that natural peanut butter is going to be mad at you because it's really dry. So you always got to mix that natural peanut butter a lot, right? Because it doesn't have the, hydrogenated oil and other stuff that keeps it from, keeps it together instead of having it separated. Separating, I know, natural peanut butters are a pain in the butt because they separate. But you know what? It's just better for you. So what if you got to stir it real hard a couple times? So what? I think they even taste better. I do. Do you want to use chunky though? No. Nope. You could though. You could. Now I'm taking it off the heat quite literally because we're almost there. See, there's only one little isolated chunk, and some people kind of like it when there's just a little chunk, a little naughty chunk like that in there. So if you only have one, that's fine. It doesn't need to be perfect. Not at all. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, because we are almost there. There we go. Yes, yes. Got to kind of work fast here. Go ahead. And you know what? Measure your Rice Krispies always twice unless you live alone. Why? Because I've done that one. I've measured it before and then went, oh crap, I got an extra cup in. Then you're the person making the dry, gross ones that nobody wants to eat. Or, oh great, these taste great. They're really gooey, but I don't have enough because I was 1 cup short. Right? In fact, when I measured the second time today, I was 1 cup short. And I don't even have any kids to blame it on. Well, I do. I have 2 furry ones. And yeah, they were kind of talking to me while I was making this. In case you're wondering, they did get to lick the spoon that I used when I put the peanut butter from the jar into the measuring cup. I knew that there would be warfare involved if I didn't let them lick the spoon. All right. I'll put that here. When you're doing this, you gotta kind of manhandle this. I wouldn't let your 8-year-old help you with this part because you got to get it from the bottom going around. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a big dry patch, which is another no-no that people do when they make these. Okay. I think we've got this almost where we need to be. Also, you don't have to have a leading brand of puffed rice, if you will. In fact, I don't use a leading brand of that. For that or my butter. I do for the marshmallows, though, and for the peanut butter. And you're going to come into this, of course, as you know, if you've made this before. You can manhandle this out using your hand. Or you can look for... I'm checking through my spatulas for one that's kind of firm and won't take a lot of nonsense. And I think I found this. There we go. And you're always going to have about 1/4 of an 1/8 of a cup on the bottom that you can't seem to get it out of there. And you know what? That's chef's treat. That's for me. All right, we're going to smooth this out. A little bit of oil on the hands doesn't hurt. Clean hands, best friend. Of course, they're clean. There we go. And working quickly while it's warm. It might even be on the hot side. That's fine. This cools down fairly quickly. Get your... Oh, it smells so good. I love the smell of warm peanut butter. Get this the way, you know, so it doesn't look like some monster patted it in here. You want you want it to be symmetrical, like that. And we're done. That's the easiest part. The next part involves tempering some of the white chocolate / bark. And we did that at Christmas time when we made those snacks, remember? It's easy. It just means blasting with the microwave a few times. Because we're going to make the pretty, pretty topping next. And how to do so, 1/4 to 1/2 to 1/3, depending, not a half, 1/4 to 1/3 of your bark or your white chocolate in a bowl, microwave safe. You're going to need that. Now, here's what I do. I make these so often, I have all kinds of sprinkles and jimmies that I special order and get off the internet for every holiday imaginable. Let me show you. This one's called Into the Woods, but I got it because it's greens and it's great for St. Patrick's Day. And then I make the drizzle light green and it's great. People love it. Christmas time, sugar. If you got an anniversary, these little sweet pearls look pretty with the drizzle, which we're going to talk about, we're going to do together. Here's my Easter theme. This one's called Hop Along. Okay. Easter or spring. In fall, I got this bad boy online somewhere. And that's my favorite, the little leaves. You can tell because I'm stuck with hardly any of that and a lot of the other, right? I do that for fall, autumn, and Halloween. Okay? And then this doubles as Valentine's Day and Christmas. I tried earlier off camera to make my own. I'm going kind of for a girl's birthday / Valentine theme. So I couldn't find any pink, so I made my own pink, they call it sanding sugar for decorating. And all I did, it took me several experiments, was put a teeny drop on a toothpick, and I put it on my white, because sanding sugar is big granulated sugar. I don't know if you can see this. Big, like kosher salt. And I just mix it with my hands, right? First batch I made, I did it with regular sugar, and it's too fine. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. But this is the sparkling sugar. This is by Bob's Red Mill, or the sanding sugar. You can get this at the grocery store. I think that's where I got this several years ago. I need to get some more. Okay, so again, today's theme, I mean, I might do a couple of these. These would be pretty. The little white balls. And I'm going to do this pretty pink sugar that I made, okay? But let's make our drizzle, okay? Go ahead and get it in a microwave bowl. Get yourself some oil, some neutral oil, like avocado oil works, or so does coconut oil, in case you need it. You may not need it. Let's go ahead and temper the chocolate in the microwave in little bursts of 10 to 15, 16 seconds, depending on how strong your microwave is. First couple times, do it for a short amount of time so you don't scorch anything, any of your bark. So I'll be right back. I'm going to give this, oh, you'd think I'd have this memorized because I make tempered chocolate all the time. I'm going to do a couple 14ers, and if it seems like it's just not melting really good, then I'm going to take it down to lower amounts of seconds. Because, like what I said at Christmas time, I know you just don't want to rush this project. You know what, I could go higher. That's not even, no, it's warm, but I could go a little higher on the time. I'm going to go 20 seconds on its regular setting, which is high. Then, once we get it to where I want it, that's when the magic happens, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So we have 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see where we're at. Yep, it's starting to melt. Not melty melt, but I can tell because the bowl is warm, and these are glossy. So you're probably like, well, why can't I just slam it in the old microwave and put it in there for 2 minutes? Well, you're going to be very bummed if you try doing that, because if you do that, what's going to happen is it's going to burn, right? Once it's burned, there's nothing you can do. You just got to throw it away, right? And it stinks and it doesn't work. So that's why you do it in these small little bursts. And if it's the first time doing it, or if you just bought a new microwave, you go in the shortest amount of time possible just to get a feeling of where your microwave's at the high position. At Christmas, you and I, what did we make when we were doing this? We made those little cracker peanut butter snacks rolled in chocolate. That's so yummy. And we also drizzled, we did the same technique on top of them. They were fancy. Remember that? Then we also made peanut clusters. And did we drizzle anything on those? I cannot remember. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. They're certainly long gone. Those always go fast. Both of those two items that you use with chocolate that you've melted down. Okay, we're getting close, even though they're still kind of in little chips, but we're getting close because it's getting, I can smell it, it's getting hot to hold. I might need a pot holder to get it in out of the microwave. These are taking just a little bit longer than if I were to use this bark, because that's what I used at Christmas time. But I think these chips are older. I've had these in my in the cabinet for a while, so got to rotate the stock, and consequently these are a little drier because the bag was already open. So that's why. Woo! It's getting hot, 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 hot. I'm going to add a little oil to this because like I said, these chips, I think were a little dry because they were open. And I should have used them at Christmas time, but I didn't. I used the bark, and I didn't see these in the back of my cabinet. That's okay. Once it comes together, and then the rest moves fast. I just think that these are just dried out. Does not mean unusable, it just means dried out. I think these are... I don't know. We might have to do a quick... Hey, that's part of cooking. You know, sometimes you have to have another plan. But I added a little bit more oil to this. I'm going to add a little bit more because it's hot and it's coming together, but it's not getting thinned out, and that's telling me that these probably are long expired, so not a problem. We're going to real quick make an executive decision to go with the bark and chop it up. Glad I pulled this out anyway, right? Okay. Not a problem. Back to the drawing board. And the lesson learned is keep track of your ingredients. Don't let the stuff fall to the back. Then remember that you have them and use them and expect them to still be good. Would that hurt you? By no means, if you wanted to force yourself to use that and keep adding oil. But I'm not going to sit there and fight with it because it's, again, not that it's going to hurt you, but it's just making me aggravated. So we're going to go to method 2, which is using bark. The only difference is that, what are we going to use here? Oh, we'll use this. The only difference is this is probably going to come together quicker since I just picked this up from the grocery store yesterday. In fact, it's cutting really nice, kind of crumbling, because the oils, you know, again, the oils in here maybe a little off. The oils in here smell wonderful. And the trick thing whenever you're working with any product that has oil in it is to always remember, right? Oil spoils. So when it spoils, it's not like, oh, I better go to the hospital, I'm sick. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means its functionality, its workability is compromised. Like that didn't want to melt. There we go. Okay, I'm going to give that another 20. Bob Ross, the fun little picture painter on PBS, what he used to say, there are no mistakes, there are happy accidents. So that was a happy accident because we learned a lesson and to always rotate your stock. Find something used, it might be beyond its prime. There we go. This feels better already. Okay? Same procedure. And you might be thinking, naturally, Nat, why didn't you do this earlier so that we didn't have to see you go in and out of the microwave? Well, I don't like to edit, you already know that. But secondly, you can't do this later and then fill it in or do it at the last minute. You have to do it right then and there and use it right then and there. If you get a phone call when you're doing this and you're like, oh, I'll take it. No, you'll come back, this will be hard. And sometimes it doesn't reheat. So, you kind of got to do it. Johnny on the spot, commit to it. There, now we're talking. Let me show you. Yeah, totally, totally. See how that's already coming together? The other one, did I throw it out the door? It's like concrete. So, this is almost there. We're just going to put a little oil in it. And the reason why you do that is the viscosity. Right? It drizzles what you want. If you don't remember from at Christmas time, that's what you want. You want drizzly. Now, not watery running, just drizzly. And you know what? Look at how fast. Holy moly. Look how fast that came together. Look how I was forcing that other one to work for me. And it didn't want to because it was old. Now we got this. This is cool. This cools quickly. And you remember this part, right? Have a toothpick. Or it's good to have a toothpick around in case you don't like the way it drizzles. You can alter it a little bit. Here we go. Ready? I'm going to go side to side. From corner to corner. I'll show you in a minute. If you get it a little blobby, hold on, it's not the end of the world. What you can do, I'm going to switch sides, I'll show you in a second. What you can do is you can always just take your spoon or your toothpick and fix her and make her prettier. I think we're just going to go, should we go with just white? This is where you just got to be real quick. Are we going to go with white? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Yes. Okay. Because if we were going to decide that we were going to add a little food coloring to this and make it a light pink, you got about 10 seconds to make up your mind. So, because it starts to harden up right away. Boy, did I make a good judgment call in deciding how much bark to cut up. Because this is exactly the amount you need. Okay? I went two different directions. You see that? Pretty. And then if you don't like, if you're like, that's too fat, I don't like that there. Just take your, that, and go, oh, I don't like that there, it's too thick. Do that. Do this. Do that. No, we got more fun in the store. Let's take that light pink sanding sugar. Oh, that's pretty. I like that better than the Christmas. But we're going to add the Christmas red too. As a contrast. This is where you just get to be as artsy-fartsy as you want. I'll put a little bit of red. And I think, since these are for me, and maybe I'll say one for Daniel McDaniel, I'm going to put these little pearls, because they're so cute. I'm going to put a few pearls in them. And a little more pink. I'll show you in a minute. Hey, stay there with me. Put a little more red. I'm going to use the back of my toothpick to fix a little boo-boo. There you go. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Now you could have two bowls going, and you could have one bowl where you're going to do the drizzle with red or pink. Go very lightly with red food coloring. And you could go two different ways. What I did was I went this way, doop, 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 doop. And then I went the other way, doop, 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 doop. And you could alternate that with the light pink and the red, or light pink and white. If it's St. Patrick's Day, and I will do this for St. Patrick's Day, I'll do light white like this, and then I'll do green Then I'll do these fun things on top for St. Patrick's Day, and it'll be cuter than cute. I'm going to put these in a refrigerator for about a half hour so they can get really firm, and then I'm going to cut them up. I'm going to put them in a really tightly sealing bowl with the lid I have, and this will last as long. I mean, you'd be surprised if you're using the all natural peanut butter, because it has the extra oil in it, how long it lasts, and it'll still taste fresh, like you just made these. So give these a try, the elevated Rice Krispie bars. Don't go to your grocery store because they don't carry very good varieties of these. Order these online, unless you have a really good specialty store. Get them for all different seasons and reasons and occasions, and you can have so much fun with this. And it's so much cuter than the person who just does the quickie method, right? So if you can, it really helps my channel. Hit the like and hit the subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell and you'll get notifications when I have another video. And wherever you're at, I hope you are having a wonderful time. And I'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.